This is the part where we're going to talk about specific traits, genes, and alleles with the vocabulary terms. So here in this diagram, you're looking at the cell. It points out the actual nucleus, and you can see the chromosomes that are in here. As you recall, 23 chromosome pair, 46 altogether, especially those who watched the Bill Nye Science Guy video. A gene is a piece of DNA that provides a set of instructions to a cell to make a certain protein. Right? So here's our DNA, which is a twisted ladder. The genes are located within that DNA, and it unravels, as you can see right here. Going on, we know that the genes exist in many forms, and we call those forms alleles. So here is one allele. Okay, we call this a homozygous because they are both wrinkled. So we have two alleles for each gene. So here, this one is heterozygous because the allele, one is wrinkled and the other is round. So this one is heterozygous simply because it is different. So we go on to make sure that we understand these terms. Homozygous means two of the same allele. Heterozygous, two different alleles. The same picture that was on the last page. Genes influence the development of the traits, right? So here's a new word, a genome. A genome is all of the organism's genetic material. So we have 23 chromosomes, pairs, 46 altogether. And when you look down here at the very bottom, this is an example of just one set, right? So here's 22 chromosomes. Not necessarily perfect, but here is a set. There is an X here and a Y here because you would have one of them, all right, in one set. You wouldn't have both of them in one set. However, if you were to have a pair of them, maybe this is your pair. Here's your second pair. Here's chromosome 3, chromosome 4, chromosome 5, and all of these different traits that are on them. So the genotype, this is the part that most of you get confused with. The genotype is the genetic makeup of a specific set of genes. So when we are looking at those genotypes, as we discussed in class, there are 3 ways to make those letter combinations. Well, here we're looking at these chromatid. We have to look at, all right, this one right here says wrinkled, it's recessive. The one on the right says round, it's dominant. So, well, we have to know what letter we're using. It can be any of them. So over here, I have capital R. That would be for a homozygous dominant. I have capital R, lowercase r. That would be a hybrid because they have one of each. Then I have lowercase r, and that's going to be for a recessive. Capital R, lowercase r also is heterozygous. It means that it's different. If we come back over here, we have one wrinkled, one round. So that means we're going to need to have a capital R and a lowercase r, which then brings us to our phenotype. And again, the phenotype is the physical characteristics of the organism. So it's telling us we have to choose, is it wrinkled or is it round seeds? And if it's dominant, then it's the round seed. Just simply because a dominant will always overcome the recessive. The bottom one, here's the genotype. Well, it says wrinkled, recessive, wrinkled, recessive. If we're going to show it in our letter combination, you should then know, out of the 3 that we have to choose from, it should be lowercase r, because if it had a capital letter in it, it would automatically make it a dominant round seed. So because it is wrinkled, we know that it has to have two lowercase letters because it is recessive.